In this video I'm going to put my fuel saving to the test. As an experiment I'm going to do a no stopper here at Fuji, something I haven't done in a long time, and this is to force a decent result here and to see if it's something I should consider more going forward. Hey guys, and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time here and you are watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, subscribe now and click the bell icon so you get notified of every video I upload and you don't miss a thing. You join me here in quali, and as this is a bogey track of mine, you'll see that I thought it'd be a good idea to get a banker in. And then I had two more runs to do, one of which is this one, which for me was quite good. It put me in 10th, just 0.9 seconds off pole, and it got even better. So you'll see that as we come through turn number 1 here, coming down the hill towards turn number 2, we were actually purple, which is miraculous for me. And just when you think you've improved, and just when you think you've got it all covered and are on for a decent qualifying session on a track historically you've been absolutely terrible at, you do this. You go and bin it, and it all comes crashing down again. As a result, I find myself in 15th on a very close grid. As you can see, I'm less than 1 second behind the leader, which puts it all into perspective. Now, I have decided to go for a no stopper, as you probably guessed by the title, but I'll go into more of that later. Now, immediately once we started, I'm going to start fuel saving. I'm down to 15th straight away, and keep your eyes to the right. Right on cue. Beautiful. You couldn't even write it. He's even wearing the book a name. But anyway, I'm going to let them fight away. And as you can see, I have my fuel map on rather than my radar on at this point. I'm more concerned about fuel and will only use the delta and turn on the radar when I think it's needed. So keep your eyes up ahead here as we come into the hairpin for the first time at turn number 6. Weston up ahead is getting in all sorts of bother. He's on the grass and everything. He's going to try his best here to ram Momos to keep him behind, and I'm going to have to take to the grass myself to get through. Now, it's not really what I want at this point, to be honest. Yes, we gained a position, but this isn't part of my race strategy. The first part of this strategy is just to get to a point where I have enough fuel to get to the end. And battling, eating up fuel and tyres is not going to help that. So if he tries to come back through, I'm really not going to fight it or anything like that. And I anticipate, considering how close he is, we will be passed again coming down the start-finish straight. Now you'll see, as soon as I get into 6th gear here, I'm going to flick the fuel map up to 6 to save as much fuel as possible. I'm going to start lap number 2 here with 8.5 laps of fuel remaining, so I'm very much in deficit. Not surprisingly there, I'm down to 17th. You can just see the speed difference between us both here. And as it stands, because I only had 8.5 laps of fuel remaining when we passed the line, I'm not going to make it to the end of the race. So I'm going to be short shifting here as soon as I can. I'm aiming for as soon as it goes red on the bar up in front there, but I also need to, as I mentioned earlier, think about tyres. I can't afford to spin them up, otherwise they'll be gone by the last few laps, and any advantage I get by not making a pit stop will be gone. And I've got to do all that whilst trying to keep pace with the guys in front, because if I lose too much time, again, it's all going to be for nothing. Jumping forward to lap number 3 now, as we crossed the line we had 8 laps of fuel and 9 laps left when we crossed the line, so still not quite there yet. We must keep conserving. Now coming down into the Dunlop curve, 7 cars are all up ahead. They're all battling, holding each other up, which is absolutely fine by me. Now the reason it's fine is because I don't think, considering how I was overtaken on the front straight by a few people, that any of these guys are non-stopping, because if they were, they'd be much slower, just like I am. The yellows are out here as the Spaniard at the head of the queue has had an issue. His Fanatec hasn't helped him there, it would seem, and as we come onto the start-finish straight, we're going to have to weave through more traffic as more people are having issues. Perfect. Again, absolutely fine by me. And while still resisting the temptation to not get stuck in, because it will destroy my fuel, we start lap number 4 with 7.3 laps of fuel left. Now that's 0.7 laps away from what we need right now fuel wise, but we will see where the land lies around laps 5 or 6, which is when I expect people to start coming in. But at the moment we're in 15th, we were door number 17 remember, and we're definitely going for a no stop. We should have a pit stop in our back pocket over the guys up in front, so things are looking good. Now coming out of the hairpin here is the absolute prime place to burn up your tyres. The track falls away from you, you've got heavy acceleration, so you can destroy them in an instant, so you've got to be really careful there. But coming down to Dunlop here, the German has had some sort of issue with Mr. Fanatec. He's going to go off and he's going to hold up Wesson. Now I'm just going to head to the outside here to keep my momentum going. As I've mentioned before, I don't want to pass and enter any sort of battle with these guys, burning up any fuel or my tyres, and we just want to keep it as smooth as possible. So this is why I'm going to take the wider line into Panasonic here, which is the final curve, to make sure that my tyres aren't put under too much stress, and also we avoid contact from the guy who is very close behind. So we're going to get overtaken here because of the fuel mix. We're going to immediately jump into his slipstream. Can you hear that? How quiet it is, and the difference between the wind when you're in someone's slipstream where it's silent and out of the slipstream where it's really windy and loud. Now for those who were paying attention, I came across the line there with 0.5 of a lap in the red now. So we're just 0.5 laps behind where we need to be. Tyres, as we look down at them, are looking good, and the first cars are starting to come in now. You can see him there, 18th is in the pits. So I'm happy here to stay and keep saving. Pace is okay clearly as we're still with the guys up in front, and we also have a pit stop in our pocket. So while I've got a moment here, the reason I have decided to try this is I saw Tidgney do it in an earlier stream whilst I was practicing. Shout out to you, Martin, channel member and all-round good guy, so make sure you go and check him out if you haven't already. And also I haven't done one for ages, since last year in fact, when I did it in the Lexus at Bathurst. Now it went okay, but it was mega stressful and there was lots of being overtaken, which I absolutely hate. But as I had nothing to lose, being door number 17 anyway, in the nations that I'm not really concentrating on, and at Fuji where I'm not very good at anyway, I thought why the hell not. Now what do you guys think of no stoppers? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you use them? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Really keen to hear what you guys have to say. Whilst I was talking, we overtook 2 cars that had penalties up ahead. We had to weave through them on the start-finish straight. So now we're up to 9th as we enter turn number 1. As we pass the line, just a quick fuel check, we had 5.7 laps to go, which means we were 0.3 laps behind our schedule because we've got 6 laps left now. Fast forwarding slightly here, the leaders are now starting to come in. It's going to be interesting to see where we come out once we pass the end of the pit lane. Keep an eye on 7th here. 2 cars up ahead, absolute amateur hour, and this is why we need a penalty for crossing the line. But anyway, enough about him. Look as we cross the line and we have overtaken absolutely everybody. Well, almost everybody, as the leader is just coming out of the pits here. Now I'm going to give him space on the inside. He's going to be quicker anyway, plus he has fresher tyres, plus he can also use all the fuel that he wants. There's just no point fighting him. Second is going to be right behind us as we come round 130R, not 130R, 100R, get your degrees right, Rory. And this just proves how much better his tyres are as he goes round the outside. Now at this point it's just a case of not biting or trying to enter into any battles. I'm going to keep my fuel on track, keep my tyres also on track as I inevitably start falling down the field. But when I get to a point when I have enough fuel, I can start making this car a little wider. This technical part of the track at the end here at Fuji sector number 3 is probably the most difficult place to try and stop yourself from burning loads of fuel and burning up your tyres. There's lots of heavy turns and lots of heavy acceleration and braking, so it can really take a toll if you're not careful. As we come into Panasonic here, the final corner, third's going to come through, but he's got a penalty. So we're going to go down to 5th briefly, then but back up to 4th, and then even 3rd, but then you'll see the speed difference between us and someone who isn't fuel saving. But finally, with 4 laps to go, we've actually got 4 laps left of fuel, so we are equal. In my excitement, I'm going to go deep into turn number 1, but for the first time in the race, we can actually start opening the taps just that little bit. But as we get deeper and deeper into this race, I'm finding that the tyre wear is really starting to take hold. You can hear me here squealing around as I drag those tyres, those worn tyres, over the surface of the track here at Fuji, and we're going to lose a couple of more places. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change up just too early here. Silly mistake. It's because I'm thinking about the fuel, I'm thinking about the tyres, thinking about people coming up behind me, and as a result I'm down to 7th. But it's not all negative though, as I coast a little bit here down into turn number 10, because we're still well up from where we started, and it's a case now of how many places can we hold on to. As we cross the line to start lap number 9, we've got 3.3 laps of fuel left, so things are still looking good. Now we're going to get overtaken at one more place here, so we're going to end up down in 8th as we come into Dunlop here, and it's just a case of not being able to stop on these tyres anymore. But we've got 2 laps left after this one, so time is diminishing, which is normally a bad thing in a race, but for me is a good thing, because the less time people have to overtake me, the less places that I'm going to lose, and the more points we're going to gain. And for me, the experiment's going quite well at this point. As I said, we started in 15th, door number is 17, so the game really didn't think too much of us in this one. So starting lap number 10 now, 2 more laps to go, and as we cross the line we're going to go down to 9th. Mr. Fanatec there comes through, but rather than looking in front, I'm looking behind here, as next up is Momo's. Now, considering our previous history and his first corner antics, I want absolutely no part of this guy. But that could be just me being silly. I mean, he's going to catch us soon enough, you can see it on the delta there, but maybe he's going to pass us cleanly and happily, and there's going to be no contact and there's going to be no issues. So let's see as we come down into Dunlop. And again, just watch this. He's just going to lob it up the inside. There's going to be contact as I turn in. Ugh. And people wonder why they have a bad reputation. Not just individuals, but teams. We're also going to go down to 11th here as the Greek is trying to come past. I'm trying to fight it as cleanly as I can. There's nothing really I can do here. We're down to 11th as we come through Panasonic for the penultimate time here, and we're going to start the final lap. Now, I don't have to change up into fuel mix 6 anymore. As we come across the line here, we've got about 1.5 laps of fuel left, and look at the difference when I can open up the taps. Now, he couldn't pass me in a straight line, but one thing he will be able to do is pass me under braking because of my tyres. Look at the state of them here. They're pretty much 2/3 worn. They definitely are on the left hand side anyway, which is going to happen on a clockwise circuit like this one. The outside tyres are going to take all the load and they're just going to get more worn. But we're going to stay on board here as we come down into the hairpin here at turn number 6. Just being really careful not to light up the tyres on the exit. And as we get to Dunlop, or if we can get to Dunlop, we will be, I think, safe. Unless the guy behind throws a Momos-esque move in the final sector. And we hopefully can bring home 12th. So we're just going to come through here. You can see as we get the power down, the car just snaking and crabbing its way through this final sector here. This is probably the penultimate chance of an overtaking move, but no, he's still about half a second behind here, and we're going to come into the final chance for any move. Thankfully he hasn't been close enough to do it, because if I'd lost one place there I would have lost all 3 and be down to 15th because they are so close. Keep your eye up ahead here. It's Mr. Fanatec again. We're going to pick up an unexpected place as he has some sort of issue, and we're going to come across the line to take home 11th place. So we've gone up 4 positions here, and just like last time out, not many points, but I felt it was important to do so. The no stopper that is, and I'll do it again. Now our driver rating stayed about the same too, so even without a great result we stay in A+. And for now guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.